pictures, but they're different, right? So I'll pull up the one that I sent you, because sorry, I'm getting married, so I'm saving like hairstyles to like updos. So the one thing that I'll mention is that so I told you like before, I've had it, I've been getting it done for like a year, and the first time I did it, I actually didn't hate it. Like I liked it. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. It was lighter, but because they were doing obviously blending it a little bit, but then it just they kept doing it light. They kept putting more and more light in. Right, yeah. It kept getting, and I was like, and I literally went, I'm like, the one thing I don't want to be is blonde. Like I'm a brunette, I'm a natural brunette, and I get like I'm going gray, but I mean, well, I've been going gray since I was 20. It's early gray in my family, but I want both. Like I want to bring it in. I want to bring the gray in. I don't want to go blonde. I don't want to just like.
You want to still feel brunette with just like pieces of it.
Yeah, exactly. So like this is this is kind of the inspiration. She's obviously got it on her sides, whereas I am predominantly my crown. But the idea is to kind of, still be a brunette, but, instead of blonde highlights, more of sort of a silver ashy highlights, but not, I don't want it like full on, I don't want to be like that.
Yeah, that's too much.
But it was used, I showed you the most recent picture, so I ended up going in myself and doing it, which I know hairstylists absolutely hate to hear that, but I just couldn't get it done the way, so I was like, well, I'll just try it myself. So, and I
do yourself?
So what I did myself, because I have been dyeing my hair since I was 20, because I've had gray my whole life, literally since I was 20. So what I did, and you'll see, like I did a crappy job. There's banding, you know what I mean? Like that banding is me. That's my fault. That's me doing the crappy job. But what I wanted was to take this, like, obviously it's coming in here, but I was like, I wanted low lights. I kept saying put like once they had already done all the highlights were in there and they were still too yellow. They were coming out too yellow, but the highlights were there. They're still there. The highlights are there. The whole top of my head is actually like full of like it's light. What I wanted was to actually take some of that gray and now just put in low lights, right? So I did that. I put in.
Do you have anything on your root right now?
Not right now. I just washed my hair, so I didn't have, because I do root spray. I do root spray. There might still be a little residual, but that might still be there. I use like the like Clairol like root spray or something in brown, and it actually, like, honestly, but there's nothing on the sides. Like there's no spray anything here. I usually just do it at my crown, and there's nothing here. So you can kind of see, this is my big stripe. I actually have like a full, like,
do you like that?
This would be, I actually don't hate it. The one thing, I see, since it's my crown, the one thing that gets me when it's all light here is I look like I'm balding because of the white roots, because my roots are so white. It makes it look like I'm balding.
So you want it to be a little bit darker?
So what I want is just like, I do want, like, I like having some, because I want it to be able to grow out a little bit, because I was coloring my hair every 3 weeks. And it was and 2 weeks in, I have a line, a demarcation. So I'm trying to avoid like major lines of demarcation. The majority is at my crown. It's definitely on the sides too, but I don't hate some of that coming in like this. I don't hate that.
So you don't mind, like, because I know you said you wanted the low lights. In those areas where the low lights are added, you don't mind the demarcation line in those areas?
I think, like, as long as, like, if we do low lights and like tone, as long as we're doing that on a regular basis, semi-regular, not every 3 weeks, every couple months, I don't hate that. I think, and I know as someone with, like, up here, it's probably, what would you call that, like 75% gray?
Yeah.
So I understand, like, I'm never going to get to the point, unless I go fully light, that I'm not touching up. I get that. But at least not to the point where, when I color it dark, when I do my natural color, which is like this dark brown right here. That's my actual natural color. When I do that, I'm like full on line of demarcation.
Because it's permanent color too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, my goal is to, theoretically my hair would look like that if I did it with my natural sort of pattern. And if I was 25 and that was cool, I'd do it. But I'm right at that middle. I'm in my mid 40s. So I feel like I could either look super old if I do it. I don't want to look old, you know?
Okay. My question, because you want to add some, you do want to add some highlights.
Yes.
And then you do want to also add some lowlights.
Yes.
At the root area, because right now you have all this dark here, so at least like where your roots are growing in, where it's mostly gray there, we'll add in some of the lowlights. Which areas of your hair are really bugging you that feel too dark?
So nothing feels too dark. Everything got too light. So like I don't mind like sort of the more dimensional than the blended, but it's really it's the yellowing, and it got like, I mean, I showed you the picture of me where it was blonde. That's what I went in and did, like honestly like kind of chunks of color. I didn't put the demi dark everywhere.
Yeah.
I put it down here in like pieces, right? I just did foil in pieces. And I did a little bit up here because I was like scared to just make a mess, but I did some up here, and then, you know, I did some down here, but I mean, I like the dark. It's gotten, you know, too yellow, but you know, I don't hate, I want to be a brunette. I want to be brown. I want to have brown hair.
So the amount of highlights that you currently have, you want to kind of keep it at that? You just want me to lighten them up?
Well, I mean...
Or you want to add more?
Well, I think I really don't want to add more unless you feel like we need to add some just to actually like make it look normal, you know, because I know it's a little messy right now. I get that. And I also don't mind having multiple colors. Like, see, I have like, you know, these here. I don't mind making it, I don't mind where it has a few, like a little bit like darker brown, a little bit of lighter, and then the sort of more ashy, because it'll look maybe more blended, but I don't know, you know better than I would on that. But
so to me right now, the placement of your highlights, it looks like the top is lighter than the ends.
It is.
And I don't love when it looks like that normally. So I would recommend, like, we can keep the same amount of highlights. I can just pick up these pieces, make them lighter, but I would really recommend to lighten this up a little bit more. I'll keep it dimensional, but so it kind of matches, so it doesn't look like two different colors.
But not so light that the whole hair starts to look really light.
Yeah,
okay, because that's my fear, because that's what happened before. They kept doing balayage, and then it just, everything was light, and then it just got blonde.
Okay, so the only thing is you have all these shorter pieces here.
Yeah, because I layer it.
Yeah. And then you have these long pieces here. The hair that's on the bottom, it's a little bit thinner than the hair that's up here. So do you want me to match the placement as much as possible from here to here? Or you want it to be a little lighter on the ends?
So, well, I'll tell you the reason I darkened it on the bottom is just because when it got light down here plus light up here, the whole thing looked light. So at least when it was dark down here, it at least made me look like a brunette again.
Got it.
You know, that was the reasoning, and because I can't avoid being light up here since this is where all the gray is, I at least sort of, you know, I know what you're saying, because when it starts to, but then if you like, here, I'll do this. If I take away my dark spaces, I almost look like dark ash blonde.
Yeah.
But if you bring back the dark, it brunettes. It gives it a little more. So that's why I did that. That was me. That was me. This was lighter.
To keep that effect where the ends are darker?
I mean, it's not so much the ends. It's more like the base of my hair. You know, like
but those are essentially is what your ends are.
My ends. Okay.
Is the bottom half, because the top half is so layered.
Yeah.
That it's the bottom half that...
In a perfect world, obviously, all my hair used to be this color, but, you know, whatever, I can't manage that anymore.
So what you want for the bottom,
I think
maybe just like a little bit.
Just maybe a little bit.
Keep it still dark. See, just to break it up.
I left a little bit of highlight on down here, but the majority of my under I kept dark. There was one video you had. I looked at like all your videos. I went through your whole library. It's great. So but there was a couple where I would see some where it was like the gray blend. And I'm like, that's lighter than I want to go. And I noticed the difference between them. There was one I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty similar. And I noticed the difference was you left most of her hair kind of darker, including underneath. So maybe that will kind of help with me not feeling like everything is blended and lightened?
Yeah, so since you said that, why don't we, for this underneath part, just break it up a little bit, but not as much as the top.
Okay.
So we'll do less of the pieces, but just to break it up, because I don't want it to look two-tone.
Agreed, yeah.
The other thing I want to ask is these highlights here,
they're very yellow.
Do they feel like too thick?
So, well, that was what I was gonna start sort of. So here's obviously there's a number of. I mean, I know you can do a million different. You can do anything from like super blended to I guess more dimensional. Yes, they do. They feel very chunky.
Okay, so you want them thinner. That's one thing.
Yeah, softer. Softer, yeah. But
like this piece, for instance, like right here, to me looks chunky.
It is.
In your bang area, it looks nicely broken up a little bit. But it's just like the sides here look like stripes to me.
I think the reason I wasn't like
break that up.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think the reason I was kind of like, well, I have like a natural. It's literally like this stripe. It's not over here. It's just nothing over here. But I have this like stripe. So I think
in that area and like in between the chunks here, I'll like low light you with a demi.
Okay.
What the demi is going to do, it's not going to cover the permanent like normally. It'll just like, you'll still see the gray, but it looks like a highlight.
Yeah.
Like it looks like a lighter brown, but like lighter than the permanent color, but darker than your natural gray.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like in between.
It does make sense. And as far as like the highlights to your question, like this picture, like my the one stripe, even if that was like a little thicker, just to kind of
in the front.
Yeah, like
it's just gonna look different on you because you have bangs.
I know, yeah, and I know that my bangs,
which
that's
is the only thing. But I can make it a little bit, like just a little.
This is normally this was my hair before I dyed it.
Yeah.
Which is literally my exact hair, like style, color, everything.
Okay.
And this was only like a year ago.
Let me just check your placement really quick.
But I do like the way hers is. Like
you
even,
like this one
I do. I think. Granted, mine will be more on top, and I understand that, which tends to make it look lighter when it's on the top of your head.
Did you text me that photo?
I didn't. I texted you actually.
Can you screenshot that and text that one to me?
But I do. The one that I sent you, I really like too, and she's a little ashier, a little darker.
She has more light pieces than the other photo.
She does have more light pieces.
On the ends especially.
Yeah, which
do
again,
you like that?
Like I said, I'm okay, but see how much darker hers is on top? That's my problem.
Screenshot both, because I want to do a side by side.
Yeah,
show
so
you.
my problem is, first of all, she's 25, so it looks cool that it's like that much lighter.
It's also probably like an AI photo.
It might be, exactly. I know a lot of these things, you're like, you can't actually do that in real life. But also she's darker on top, which is why on the bottom it's okay for it to be lighter. But if you do this here and this here, then her whole head looks like,
So
lighter.
screenshot both of those so we can have them to refer back to.
Like this is kind of what
Too
mine
many
came out.
pieces?
It's too many because
this is too many.
Yeah, so when it's all over, it's gonna start to look like that on me.
And when it fades too, it fades lighter.
Oh,
and
I
it's
figured
too
that out.
blonde.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I've saved a lot of these.
Did you screenshot the first photo that you showed me?
No, I'm gonna send that to you right now.
Okay.
So this was when I first did my hair. This is kind of how it looked, and you can see it was very kind of yellowy, and it was a lot. I didn't have, but you see hers is dark on the bottom, and I did not have that.
Okay.
It was like that all over, so I made baby lights everywhere.
Lucy, is I'm gonna try my best.
I know.
Get those pieces as light as possible.
I understand.
But if there's a chance that, like, let's say your hair, because your texture, it's more on the finer side.
Yes, I know.
And so I have to be really careful. And since you've done your color at home yourself and at the salon, there might be different areas that might lighten differently. And if there's an area that lightens and it's ready, I need to rinse that foil off.
Just so you kind of have a pre sort of it's been a long time since I've actually done permanent color on myself. That might be literally from here down. Like
no, I see it. It's up here.
No, this is new. I mean, it's been a year and a half since I've touched my own hair. Except for recently, the last thing I did was just those demi. It's the demi permanent. It's not permanent. It was the demi permanent, and that is.
What level did you use? Do you remember what number?
For developer?
No.
Oh, for the color?
The color.
Ooh, I don't remember.
Because the way that it covered your gray, it looks like a permanent. And so even though it's a demi, it still might act like a permanent because your hair is on the finer side, so it really grabbed that color.
Okay.
Depending on what level.
Well, it's definitely faded a lot. It was much darker. It
like
was
black.
It wasn't black, but it was
like
it
really
was
dark brown.
It was an ashy dark brunette, and because of my highlights, it's faded to this. Okay. So I see what you're saying. I totally understand that. I will say that you know, my hair when they pulled it, it came up very easy. Okay. With the exception of down here.
Okay.
So down here, it did it just because it's such old color. It's been done, and permanent is down here. Okay. But up here, it actually lifted pretty easy.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So this week we have a new client that I've never done before that is wanting something very dimensional. She wants something that's going to blend but also make her feel more brunette than blonde. That's like the key here. Our goal is to kind of blend out these chunky pieces around her hair and just have something that's just going to grow out really soft and make her feel really good with the way that it fades and just get her evened out. I feel like the ends definitely look darker overall. There is some patchiness in the highlights there and with the dark. So I'm going in with K18 to kind of prep her hair first because I want to make sure that her hair is fully protected in this transformation. She told me she's done highlights before and she's also darkened it on her own. And her hair texture is a bit on the finer side, so I just want to make sure that I'm taking extra precaution to make sure and ensure that her hair is going to be at its healthiest. So I want to also apologize that the consultation was extremely long. If you were able to watch through the whole thing, the reason why I didn't really cut too much of the consultation out is because I wanted to show you guys in real time what it took for me to ultimately decide on what to do for her hair, like how many questions I asked her and asking her kind of similar things in different ways to try and figure out what she liked, and then also explaining why I would choose doing the lightening and the underneath versus not doing so at all. And so I thought it would be helpful to some people to show that, because for me, for instance, this is a color that is totally custom to this client. She has a very specific look that she's going for, and not everyone comes in and asks for this when we're doing a gray blending look. So even though we might be doing a very similar placement, the way that I tackle this is going to be very strategic based off of all the questions that I've asked her and just based off of how she felt in her past experiences, and just me really listening in and seeing what she loved and what she hated in the past. So I always start in the back nape, and for my lightener I am using the Danger Jones lightener, and we are using this with 20 volume, and I feel pretty confident that 20 volume is going to be safe enough for her hair. Her hair does have some artificial color on it. It is dark, it is fine, but this lightener has bonder in it, and I did prep her with K18, so I'm pretty confident that her hair will still feel good as we go in and lighten. And as I'm going through, I did a detail hairline around the nape. My next diagonal back section above that is pretty spaced out. I left about an inch of that, and now I'm going in with my mohawk section. I'm breaking up the back with more of like a medium size weave, and the reason why I'm not doing a baby light is because I'm spacing these foils out pretty far apart. Typically in the mohawk section I will slice it, but since she wants something that's really soft and dimensional, I am doing more of a medium-sized weave. I felt like if I did anything smaller than this, the color would get lost and it would kind of defeat the purpose of adding these in the back anyways. You wouldn't really see too much of it. So just to kind of break those up, I am spacing those foils a little bit further apart. Now that we're going and more into like her crown area, again, just like saturating, doing a more medium-sized weave, spacing out these foils pretty far apart, And as I've gotten through pretty much the whole mohawk, now I'm going to be going in and low lighting her hair. Now I typically don't do low lights, but she specifically asked to have some depth. I already asked her if she would be okay with a slight line of demarcation. And so for her low light, I'm using the Danger Jones gloss toners. I'm using the 5-1 with their gloss toner developer. Their gloss toner developer is, I believe it's like a 5 volume, and the 5 volume is going to just be a straight deposit. Now, if I want it to blend at her root, I will have to put this under heat for at least like 10 minutes or so. I feel like if you don't put it under heat, it doesn't really cover as well, especially on the white hair. It still will darken the rest of the hair, but if you really want to do like more of a gray blending type of look, you really do have to add a little bit of heat. Now the heat for the gray blending on the demi doesn't have to be like super hot. I normally just do medium heat, and I just let that process while the foils, the highlights are processing too. But I do this in sections because I want if the back highlights are done, that it gives it enough time for the gray blending lowlights to have processed. So I'm pretty much continuing my weaving pattern, just kind of breaking it up and leaving some negative space, and I'm doing it in sections. So you can see I did my highlights, and now I'm going to be going in and adding those lowlights in between too. And the reason why I'm doing her lowlights too is because I want to blend her gray, but also the dark color that she has, like her base color, has definitely lightened up. It looks really faded, and because she did her dark color herself at home, it's a little bit patchy too. So I'm really just kind of working on evening out the canvas. I want to try to get her highlights more blended and softened. Some parts of it were a bit chunky, so that's kind of like where the lowlights come in and breaks that up. And everything that I put in a foil, the lightener and the lowlight, I am applying from root to end because I want these pieces to be cohesive. And I want to later on be able to shadow root everything and tone everything down and just make it look a lot more blended and seamless. So now I'm going in and doing the sides. For her side money, I just did some baby lights around the hairline and then did a diagonal back, leaving some negative space in between that. And now I'm doing the weave above the ear like I normally do. This is how I connect the front to that back center mohawk, how we started in the beginning. And I'm tackling the side section and going up. And this whole pattern, I'm doing mostly weaves throughout the entire thing. I'm doing no slices because, again, she wants to feel more dimensional and soft. She wants things to be broken up and overall just help her feel like a brunette. So now I am rinsing out her highlights. She did lighten nice and light, and honestly, I'm only looking to lighten her to at least like a level 9. I know some parts of her hair lighten to like a level 8, but that's perfectly fine because we're going to be toning everything down with more of a silver toner to kind of ash everything out. So as I'm pulling out her foils, guys, I want to share how strong her hair still is. I'm rinsing out her highlights and nothing, she has nearly no breakage at all or anything like that. Her hair is still pretty strong, and I'm just kind of going in. You can see the ends are a little bit warm. Some of them kind of didn't lighten all the way to a 7, so I'm just putting that back in a foil, but I rinsed everything else that was ready. Anything that is pretty much a level 8 and above, we are rinsing off, but anything that might be closer to like a level 7, I am putting back into a foil. And then once those pieces kind of reach to a level 8 at least, I am going to be rinsing them out. The other thing too, because I did low light combo with highlight combo in between, a little trick to when you're working with a really dark low light and really light highlights, like a very high contrast look, and you're trying to rinse them out. I learned this from one of my mentors, to kind of rinse each foil out one by one in sections like this to prevent any of the color from bleeding, because if you were to just pull out all the foils, then the lowlights would be touching the highlights for too long and it would muddy out those highlights. So it's just a little trick to kind of rinse everything one by one. And so now I'm going to be going in with her shadow root toner. For her shadow root toner, I'm going to be using that Lowlight Lowlight formulation, which is the Danger Jones 5-1. And I'm pretty much going to do a shadow root behind her hairline because I do want the shadow root to kind of do a demi blend as well too. So after I do her shadow root, I'm going to let this shadow root sit on her root for about 7 minutes under the heat of the dryer to kind of help blend. Like I said before, if you want a demi blend with the demi permanent, you do have to put a bit of heat on it for it to really grab on those white hairs. And then after I let that sit, I brought her back to the chair, and then I'm putting on a mixture of the artistic toners. I mixed up violet and the silver together to kind of create a more violet-y silver. And now I'm going in and shadow rooting that 5-1 on the hairline without heat, and then applying the artistic toner all over. And the artistic toner I probably left on for about like 10 minutes until I started to see it get a little bit more purpley.
Yeah, it kind of looks good.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. Something that feels more brunette but has a little bit more of those lighter pieces to help blend in with her gray as it grows out. I love the way that everything kind of just like meshes and blends together. And when she came in about 2 months later, we were able to just do her demi base, which is doing the demi permanent, the 5-1 with heat at the dryer. And then we also added in those Lowlights to kind of give it some depth, and then retoned everything back to this. And that's pretty much her maintenance plan from here on out, since she does like to be more on the darker side, more dimensional. She doesn't have to do the Lowlights every time. It was just there today to kind of break that up. But for her maintenance appointments, we can definitely just do the demi and the Lowlights until she feels like she needs more lightness around her face. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in, and as always, I will talk to you guys next week.